Good evening and welcome to Prime Edition. The costs on ensuring that every Kenyan is housed decently is still on. President Ruto today launching 5,000 units, or the groundbreaking for the 5,000 units that will be in Mavoko in Machakos County.
More to that, talking about affordable housing, is that the phase 1 of the Nairobi Railway City is also going to include at least 10,000 housing units.
Absolutely. And of course, the opposition has had its day today in Kamukunji. Tonight we speak to the Deputy Governor Machakos County, Francis Mwangangi, obviously as we talk about the opposition pushback and of course the cracks that are emerging within the opposition on whether to support the calls for consultation with the public or not. But first things first, tonight's highlights. The Nairobi Railway City project is on. President William Ruto presides over groundbreaking ceremony. Tame the high cost of living. Azimio la Umoja tells Kenya Kwanza government to save suffering Kenyans. And Senate Health Committee wants Nairobi County leadership to streamline health operations. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Lensa Odingo.
And I am Regina Manyara.
Now, President William Ruto says the government's plan of creating a new generation of homeowners under the affordable housing program is on course.
Now, speaking during a groundbreaking ceremony of the Mavoko Affordable Housing Project in Machakos County, the president said the program also targets the over 6.5 million Kenyans living in slums and informal settlements.
Mavoko in Machakos County is currently the fastest growing municipality in Kenya, owing to industrial activities and the spillage of a population in Nairobi to neighboring communities. President William Ruto, in addressing the housing problem in the area, unveiled a plan to construct more than 5,000 affordable housing units. The head of state affirmed that the government is on course as it seeks to actualize its promise of building 250,000 units every year.
We have an opportunity to construct another 10 or 15,000 houses in different townships in Machakos County. And this will be the program of affordable housing. Tayari, we are working with already 15 counties that have given us land so that we can get the investors and we can provide for the off-take program.
The commissioning of the completed S&P housing project and the launch of the proposed 5,360 housing units in Machakos County is meant to strengthen our partnership with the national government.
Let me say it's a day of celebration because watu Mavoko si munaelewa kwamba sisi hapa ndio capital city ya Ukambani na bedroom ya Nairobi. Si munaelewa hivyo? Now, Your Excellency, let me tell you the truth. Mavoko is 594 square kilometers, the size of Singapore. And it is a bedroom of Nairobi. So when you see you coming here to launch development, we are more than happy and knowing that your government recognizes the people of Mavoko and the people of Machakos County.
The move, according to the president, confirms the government's strategic focus on expanding access to quality, spacious, clean, safe and secure dwelling places at affordable cost in our country.
Hii ni mradi ambayo tunaunganisha serikali ya Kenya, watu wa UN Habitat, private sector, na tumepata usaidizi mkubwa pia kutoka county government ya hapa Machakos. Hii kolabo yetu sisi wote ni ili tuweze kupata mahali pazuri. Wananchi wetu watapata makao, watapata manyumba.
I am a living example, Your Excellency, kwa wale watu ambao wamelelewa kwa slums. And I don't know why you fixed me in this docket, kwa sababu sioni ni kipi ambacho kitatuma nisifanye watu waishi katika nyumba ambazo ni za fahari, nyumba ambazo ni za heshima.
With 17,850 units launched so far in Mukuru, Rongai and Kibra, President Ruto says the housing plan will benefit 6.5 million Kenyans living in slums and informal settlements. In the meantime, the government has embarked on a transformative plan to redevelop the Nairobi Central Railway Station to a modern facility.
President William Ruto says a project that is designed to position Nairobi as a global commercial hub will also help tackle transport challenges within the capital city. Sitting on 425 acres of land, majorly owned by Kenya Railways and the Kenya Railways Retirement Benefit Scheme, the Nairobi Railway City project is expected to regenerate the area around Nairobi Central Railway Station into a modern railway city, as well as provide a livable and sustainable urban space.
These investments are flagship projects, and they are an integral part of the UK-Kenya strategic partnership.
That is actually the hallmark of the British investment in Kenya, and which created the gateway, both movement of persons and trade in this region.
Through a public-private partnership, the UK government has committed to fund the 30 billion shillings project that is designed to be a multi-modal, transit-oriented urban development, which will exploit the station's strategic spot to establish itself as an iconic nerve center for a thriving continental metropolis.
Today marks the beginning of this new direction, which links our railway system to the promise of socio-economic liberation to deliver growth and well-being for not just Nairobi, but our country. Economic productivity and competitiveness are associated with the density of transport and communications infrastructure linkages.
The railway city will offer commuters convenience, safety and speed, while surrounding areas including Landis area, areas around the farmers market and the Muthurwa area will undergo a massive facelift.
Railway City will be the new meeting place for Nairobians and a beacon of prosperity for the nation at large.
As the project takes shape,
the Nairobi County Government is fully committed to continue support through the delivery of horizontal infrastructure, urban planning approvals, which we are fast-tracking, and stakeholder engagement to ensure that this project keeps Nairobi moving forward and that we carry the people along.
The 5-year project will see Kenya Railways purchase more locomotives, revamp its parking system, automate ticketing and install CCTV cameras to improve service delivery and reduce transit time. Now, President William Ruto has urged the newly appointed judges of the High Court to be impartial in the administration of justice and not to succumb to blackmail or intimidation.
The president made the remarks during the swearing-in ceremony of the 20 judges recommended by the Judicial Service Commission, increasing the number of High Court judges to 102.
I, Mohochi Samuel Mukira.
20 more judges have taken oath of office to shift the wheels of justice to a new gear. The new cohort takes the number of High Court judges to 102 and is expected to bolster the judiciary's effort to deal with case backlog.
I, Ndega Lawrence Mugambi.
I, Diana Rachel Kavedza.
I, John Mugwemi Chigiti.
The sworn into office judges include Justice Gishohi Patricia Njeri, Mongare Josephine Wayua Wambua, Nyaundi Patricia Mande, Kavedza Diana Rachel, Churchill Sophie Chebet, Professor Sifuna Nixon Wanyama, Sharif Mwanaisha Saida, Nyaga Heston Bogo, Chigiti John Mugwimi, Mulwa Peter Mutua, Nthiga Loris Mugambi, Mutua Gregory, Wananda John Robert Anuro, Mohochi Samuel Mukira, Olel Francis Rayola Oching Odhiambo, Dr. Githiru Freda Mugambi, Magare Dennis Kizito Ngwono, Masharia Florence Wangari, Odera Teresa Acheng, and Vishram Alim Al-Nasir. President William Ruto, in calling for impartiality in the administration of justice, say judicial independence remains paramount.
That you will always do that which is impartial, and you will not submit or succumb blackmail, intimidation, or threats from any corner.
The expedited swearing-in of the new judges adds to the assertion that there may be a newfound relationship between the judiciary and the executive. With the statutory establishment of judges required to be 200, the 20 judges of the High Court sworn into office now adds up the number to 102 from the previous 82 judges. Serafina Robi from State House, Nairobi for Prime Edition.
To some politics now, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party has accused the Kenya Kwanza administration of failing to meet its pledge to bring down the cost of living within 100 days in office.
Addressing a rally at the Kamukunji grounds in Nairobi, Azimio principals led by Raila Odinga resolved to put pressure on Kenya Kwanza administration to reduce the cost of basic commodities beginning January 2023, particularly restoring subsidies on maize flour and fuel.
Azimio leader Raila Odinga, accompanied by other Azimio leaders including Martha Karua, Kalonzo Musyoka and former Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, were at the Kamukunji grounds in Nairobi for a public rally. During the rally, the leaders hit out on the government over the state of affairs in the country.
Hawa commissioners wanne tunataka mpaka warudishwe pale wako. Warudishwe pale. Alipana Ruto mpaka azuiliwe kuteua tume nyingine ya uchaguzi ambayo ni yake ni kama kagosi yake.
Tutapiga makoti tukishindwa na kujilisha sababu ya GMO. Mkulima wa kawaida atapata pesa ya kwenda kununua kwa duka. Watu wetu tuseme tunataka sheria ifuatwe, tuwe tunahusishwa na maneno ambayo ni ya maisha yetu.
The leaders accused Kenya Kwanza government of failing to meet its pledge to bring down the cost of living within 100 days.
Huwezi kumwahidi mtoto wako mkate alafu umpatie mawe. Kwa sababu mliahidi hawa mahasla kwamba mtawapea pesa bure. Leo hii hawa mahasla wanasema pwagu amepata pwaguzi.
Lakini kwa hizo siku tumeona kwamba bei ya vitu inaenda kuongezeka juu. Na hata mahali serikali ilikuwa inatoa usaidizi kwa wananchi, wanafunga.
The Azimio team further faulted the Hustler Fund initiative, saying Kenya Kwanza government lied to Kenyans.
Aina legal framework, haijapelekwa kwa bunge. Unajua sheria za bunge, unapata appropriation. Haijafanua na appropriation.
Ilikuwa tunafikiria wako na mpango, lakini hawana. Na nyinyi wenyewe mtaendelea kutuambia yale kama yale tumepata leo, ili pia tuweze kuhakikisha kwamba hii serikali ya William Ruto tumeiweka katika balances na checks ili waweze kuwatumikia Wakenya kama vile waliahidi.
In what they dubbed consultative forum, leaders made 12 key resolutions to address the challenges facing Kenyans, including to pressure the government to institute measures to reduce the cost of basic commodities, particularly by restoring subsidies of maize flour and fuel beginning January 2023.
Nataka vijana na kina mama wasimame imara. Wasimame imara, watetee uhuru ambaye tunapigania sisi kama Wakenya wote. Tunataka kuona kama hali ya maisha ya Wakenya inarudi sawa sawa. Yale mpango yote ambayo tuliahidi nyinyi iko kwa store.
Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
That story by Ben Chumba takes us to a very fast break, but just a reminder, obviously emanating from that story, that tonight we'll be engaging the Honorable Francis Mwangangi. He's the Deputy Governor of Machakos, and we talk about the pushback by the opposition to go too far.
Welcome to Friends Stadium. Everybody's ready. Wait a second, not everybody. Come on, dude, it's the FIFA World Cup. You're going to lose your seat, the ritual seat, the lucky one. Losing more than a seat, your team is going to lose. Where are you, dude? The match is about to start. Your friends won't hold out much longer. Excuse me. Finally, everything is in the right place. Hey, other hand. And you, do you have everything you need to believe?
Kupata rudisha pesa za Masai kama sikiza tune yako, bonyeza *811 *962 hash.
Iko mtu nasirisha mimi sana. Nasikia? Sema okay? Kama semi achukui, mimi napeleka pesa benki. Nafika benki, napatia pesa, alafu mtu mwingine nakuja na asema nataka loan, napatiwa ile pesa. Sasa mimi nashinda. Kwani mimi naleta pesa yangu wewe napatia mtu mwingine?
Kupata rudisha pesa za Masai, bonyeza *811 *962 hash. *811 *962 hash.
Feel the excitement. Relish every moment. Get 1.5 GB at 50 bob. Valid for 3 hours. Furahia futa. Dial *544 hash. Make chaguo smarter na Airtel, the most affordable network.
The Nairobi County Health Facilities have been on sharp focus, and now the Senate Health Committee wants Nairobi County leadership to streamline health operations in the capital following rising cases of negligence in various hospitals.
The committee, which probed Nairobi County leadership over recent cases of negligence reported at the Mama Lucy Hospital, want a number of issues addressed, among them cracking a whip on staff who lack the right attitude to handle emergency cases.
The Senate Standing Committee on Health has urged Nairobi County Executive to ensure its staff in the health sector have the right mindset while on duty to reduce cases of negligence recently reported in various hospitals across the capital. The committee on Wednesday probed Nairobi County Governor Johnson Sakaja, Mama Lucy Hospital and Kiambu Level 5 Hospital leadership over the death of Maureen Anyango after delivering twins.
Just about the nurses. These are issues at Mama Lucy. From the gate, a cleaner, the nurses, And while I sympathize with the nurses, as the governor has explained, that it's because of maybe inadequate numbers. But looking at the account of this one, I think auntie to Mr. Otieno, that when a particular doctor came and it's actually Professor Regina, and recognized her, the doctor was now ready and willing to help her, to help the patient. But as per her testimony, when the patient was being helped by this particular doctor, all this time nurses did not come to their aid and just stood at the desk watching. Meaning, it is not that they were that busy.
Therefore, holding the resources at the Ministry of Health while expecting counties to deliver that service is actually shocking. At the state at which health services are in Nairobi, we expected that Nairobi was going to be at the top. But we are going to support you and make sure that the facilities that belong to the county that have been taken up by national government, they must revert with immediate effect to county government.
So majority of Kenyans go to public hospitals. Now, what measures? You have seen what happened. You have gone through these reports. Have you taken any action to maybe ensure that in the future our nurses will be more professional, they will be more sympathetic, they will put a human touch while attending their patients?
In their defense, the leadership of Mama Lucy and Kiambu Level 5 hospitals claimed there was no delay in rendering services to the patient.
for us to highlight the problem. We don't hide anything. If there's a challenge, say the challenge, so we can get a solution. So I hope that you're still available as a committee to work with us. We said our facilities will have, there's a matron who is a doctor in all the facilities. But at that level, there will be an in charge of the facility who's an administrator, not a doctor or a nurse. We'll have somebody in charge of facilities, the logistics, equipment. Yeah, are the lifts working? Do our nurses and doctors even have a place to drink tea? Are they getting food? Somebody to run that. Then the medical issue of medical services will be dealt separately, so the doctors can deal with the health issues.
Sakaja, who was taken to task to explain measures the county is putting in place to remedy the situation, revealing shortcomings of the previous regime, which administration seeks to amend. The Jackson Mandago-led committee has since visited Mama Lucy Hospital to ascertain the current situation on the ground. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mongai.
And now primary school head teachers are demanding a pay hike as well as an evaluation of their job description from their employer, even as the government prepares for junior secondary schools intake across the over 200,000 primary schools countrywide come January 2023.
Now, through the National Union of Teachers, school heads further want those in acting capacity to be confirmed and promoted before the beginning of next term.
Our reporter Janae Karisa with more details from the ongoing Kenya Primary School Head Teachers Association Conference in Mombasa.
Day 3 of the 18th annual KEPSHA conference saw the Teachers Service Commission listen and address the lamentations of the over 10,000 school heads currently meeting in Mombasa. Their pressing issue is the burden of responsibility assigned to them that may not mirror their remuneration packages.
It goes without saying that additional responsibility calls for additional remuneration. So we cannot just expect head to do this donkey work without being looked into in terms of remuneration.
The teachers are demanding an evaluation of their roles in administration of the learning institutions while calling for the confirmation and promotion of their peers.
We must reduce the workload of the head teacher and specifically leave the head teacher to do the work that he was trained to do.
Kenya National Union of Teachers Secretary General Colin Soyu says the union is concerned with the rising number of suicide cases that have been largely attributed to the delocalization reforms that have since been revoked.
Most of you take drugs based on pressure or even sugar conditions out of the work that you do.
On the one hand, they're trying to deliver what we expect them to deliver. On the other, we are not giving to them. So they live in states of constant stress. And therefore, it is this direct relationship that perhaps would lead on to cases of alcoholism, depression, suicide, and so on.
OU is further calling on the government to fast-track the implementation of the Equalization Fund as well as specialized capitation for special needs schools.
What you go through in special schools cannot be compared to what we went through in our normal schools. So can we have specialized capitations for the same?
Over 229,000 primary school teachers have been trained on early year learning and junior secondary studies, while over 60,000 secondary teachers have received training on senior school studies.
The Commission has further deployed adequate CBC competent tutors in teacher training colleges. Therefore, by the time the current teacher trainees graduate from these colleges, they shall have gained enough skills to deliver the competence-based curriculum.
Juni Karisambele from Mombasa County.
Now, away from, teaching matters in Mombasa, the government has said that it is well on course to improving the livelihoods of Kenyans by lowering poverty levels through provision of an enabling environment.
The Principal Secretary for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, Susan Mangeni, who assumed office today, says that this can be achieved through proper public participation and empowerment programs.
The
handover in various state departments continued on Wednesday, with Susan Mangeni assuming office at the NSSF building as the Principal Secretary for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. Mangeni vowing to use the critical state department to empower Kenyans economically based on their needs and aspirations.
And in the true spirit of bottom-up, it means largely it's us to go outside there and come up with meet Kenyans wherever they are and come up with interventions that can help them enhance their economic or their livelihoods.
Once you're able to do the mapping and understanding of really what is where in the country, in what quantities, in what format, then even the policy is doable.
The PS noting through the recently launched Hustler Fund, more Kenyans who had been blacklisted will be able to access finances to better their lives from the bottom up, as per the Kenya Kwanza plan.
Instead of now us asking for collaterals, you can now get a single digit interest, a credit at a single digit, and also you can get credit based on your behavior.
Similar exercise saw Alfred Cheriot handing over the tools of operation under post-training and skills development department to his successor in the labor and skills development docket, Geoffrey Kaituko. The functions of post-training and skills development were transferred to the Ministry of Labor through a Gazette notice. Kaituko underscored the need to develop skills that match the current job market.
We need to develop the kind of skills that our young people can take to the job market so that they can be employed by various employers. And I think this department, no one can come and say they are doing what skills development department is going to be doing.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Do you know you stand the risk of disconnection if you have not updated your SIM registration details? Dial *106# to check your SIM registration status. If your details are not updated, dial *106# and select option 2 to get the self-update link. You will be required to upload your original ID image copy, both front and back. Alternatively, you can visit the nearest Airtel outlet. Remember, you only have until December 15th, 2022 to comply. This is a SIM regulation requirement as per the Communications Authority of Kenya. Airtel, the most affordable network.
Cheza Loto, shinda pesa moto.
Wachua mamili leo na Loto Moto. Cheza ukianzia na shilingi 50 na ushinde milioni 2 kila siku. Kucheza ni rahisi zaidi. Kwenye M-Pesa, chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, andika neno Loto. Kisha, weka star. Alafu nambari yako ya simu. Kwenye amount, weka kiwango chochote cha pesa. Kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2000. Lipa na usubiri draw. Makinika papa hapa ili utimize ndoto zako na Loto Moto. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Mchezo huu ni wazi kwa watu walio na umri wa miaka 18 na zaidi. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB. Cheza Loto Moto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
After the facility was handed back, the facility was shut down by the government in 2019 on allegations of tax evasion.
After 3 years, the Kenya Revenue Authority and the National Police Service officials who throughout the closure period had control of Thika Africa Spirits premises gave access to the company's auditors and lawyers. The factory doors had been welded with DCI and KRA seals, and the premises gate manned by police officers. The company, owned by businessman Humphrey Kariuki, was shut in February 2019 on allegations of tax evasion after being slapped with a bill of 41 billion shillings. However, there was a sigh of relief to the owner and former staff of the Thika-based plant on Wednesday morning after the government handed over the company to resume operations, to the joy of former employees and Thika residents.
What we are happy about is that the economic activities of this place will now be moving on after coming to a steadfast for those 4 years.
Nimeshukuru sana kusikia hii kampuni yetu ya SCL imefunguliwa kwa mara nyingine. Juu kutoka ifungwe, mimi nilikuwa mfanyikazi hapa ndani, nilikuwa kama mpishi. Wakati ilifungwa nilikosa ajira kwa muda wa miezi 2. So nimeshukuru sana kusikia mara nyingine imefunguliwa.
Hii kampuni vile imekuja kufunguliwa hivi, serikali imefanya jambo mzuri sana, hasa kwa sisi vijana. Tutapata kazi mahali hapa, mkate wetu wa kila siku itapatikana.
Tukiwa hapa tunaomba kazi, tunaweza kuwa yani tunasaidika sisi vijana wadogo.
Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
Now, the youth, especially from marginalized areas, are being challenged to enroll for training to sharpen their ICT skills to tap the millions of online jobs. According to EduPlus International President David Milari and Inua AI Solutions founder Humphrey Muchuma said Kenya has a pool of trained graduates whose talents can be harnessed to create jobs, wealth and offer solutions to challenges being faced in the country. The government has been connecting villages and schools with high-speed internet to enable Kenyans tap the internet to do online jobs as well as access government services.
And it's very important for us to involve the policymakers at this moment in the educational sector to work with schools, come up with programs that are actually aligned with how the global market in the digital space is going. We do hire, yes, but we realize the most important component for success is the training aspect. The young people have the skills, but training is essential. And it's not just any other kind of training, a general kind of training, but it has to be specific.
I think with the company, which is Inua AI, we have proven over the last 3.5 years what is possible. And what we want to do is solidify the partnerships with the government, with educational institutions, with other companies, so they can see, oh, this has been a successful endeavor. Why was this successful? Let's ask that question. And mostly the answer is these young people in Kenya are amazing. They're amazing, they're talented, and they're very capable of doing great things.
The Ministry of Agriculture is working with the Food and Agriculture Organization to map out long-term measures on navigating drought. Agriculture and Livestock Development Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi says urgent action should be taken to address food challenges the country is facing through a focus on efficient and effective agri-food systems.
At the height of the ravaging drought, the government had set out to distribute relief food to the most affected Kenyans. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi says this is only a short-term solution and efforts should now be projected into preventing a repeat of the same. He says from the drought, about 4.5 million Kenyans are facing starvation and over 2.5 million livestock worth 1.8 billion shillings have been lost.
We now need to organize ourselves towards running away from the rain-fed agriculture.
It's a severe drought which we are experiencing as a country, and I'm sure that with the new technology, even those areas that are experiencing drought now can be improved, and those are the areas that we really want to look in at.
Linturi notes that erratic weather patterns is a matter of global concern, and the international community should work together to transform agriculture.
The effect of climate change have been so adverse on our food production, and there is a need for all of us to work together to combat climate change or to deal with climate change. It's also agreeable that we've had serious effects on our food systems out of the conflict conflicts.
He made the remarks during the ongoing United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization Council meeting in Rome, Italy. Hibak Said for Prime Edition.
Thank you, Hibak, for that report. Now, the government has begun the process of forming the Dongo Kundu management team that will handle and fast-track all matters regarding the special economic zone in order to make it a success. Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kioria says he has instructed ministry officials to fast-track the unit if the development is to be completed by March 2024. Details of these and other stories in today's corporate briefs.
Dongo Kundu will comprise an export processing zone, industrial parks, free trade zones and other auxiliary services such as tourism, meeting, conferencing and exhibitions. Speaking while meeting Ambassador Okaniwa Ken from the Embassy of Japan in Kenya, Kioria noted that the construction of the Dongo Kundu bypass is progressing as expected and will soon be open to investors. He at the same time requested the Japanese government to support the numerical machining complex that seeks to be the biggest engineering company in Kenya and targets 2,000 SMEs. This will in turn create job opportunities for millions of Kenyans to annual GDP growth during 2017 to 2021. This followed by public investment at 1 percentage points and government consumption at 0.7 percentage points. Private investment's contribution to growth remains weak, with Kenya's total investment rate hovering just under 20% of GDP. This emerged from the just launched World Bank Kenya Country Partnership Framework 2022. The framework attributed figures to declining external competitiveness and compounded by global economic developments, which also saw exports make a minimal contribution to growth. Alan Auko, Prime Edition.
Now, Alan Auko's story brings us to a close of business news this evening, but of course, Prime Edition continues after a quick break. Do have yourself a lovely night. My name is Betty Kiptum. Bye-bye.
Wachua mamili leo na Loto Moto. Kucheza ni rahisi zaidi. Kwenye M-Pesa, chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, andika neno Loto, kisha weka star. Alafu nambari yako ya simu. Kwenye amount, weka kiwango chochote cha pesa, kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2,000. Lipa na usubiri draw. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Mchezo huu ni wazi kwa watu walio na umri wa miaka 18 na zaidi.
Feel the excitement. Relish every moment. Get 1.5 GB at 50 bob. Valid for 3 hours. Furahia futa. Dial *544#. Make Chaguo smarter na Airtel, the most affordable network.
Let's now take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Now, Morocco will face Portugal in the quarterfinals on Saturday with the aim of being the first African team to reach the World Cup semi-finals. The global soccer showbiz takes a break today and tomorrow before returning to action on Friday with the quarterfinal fixture.
Benfica striker Goncalo Matias Ramos scored a hat-trick in his World Cup debut as Portugal thrashed Switzerland 6-1 to set up a quarter-final match against Morocco on Saturday. Meanwhile, Morocco will become the first African country to reach the World Cup semi-finals if they beat Portugal. Elsewhere, Brazil will be aiming to reach the World Cup semi-finals for the 10th time when they face 2018 World Cup runners-up Croatia on Friday. In another match, Lionel Messi will be aiming to guide Argentina to their 6th World Cup semi-finals when they face the Netherlands in the quarter-final. In the last match of the quarter-final stage, England will face France in their bid to lift the trophy for only their second time.
Hundreds of football fans in Homa Bay cheered on Morocco as they beat Spain via penalty kicks to qualify for the quarterfinals of the ongoing World Cup in Qatar. The football enthusiasts were accorded the chance by KBC Channel 1 in partnership with the gaming firm SportPesa, which is beaming the global showpiece to the public.
Football fans at Homa Bay Market milled around the double-screen viewing track by SportPesa to follow the round of 16 action between Morocco and 2010 champion Spain. And after a goalless regular and extra time, the match was decided via penalties, with Ashraf Hakimi scoring a Panenka penalty, sending the crowd at the market into delirium.
Chenye inamfurahisha, Morocco imetoa the big team in the world of Euro champions.
The KBC Channel 1 and SportPesa caravan, which has been crisscrossing the country, seeks to take the ongoing World Cup matches to fans to their doorsteps. After the Homa Bay stop, the caravan goes back to Western Kenya and Vihiga County, with the public set to view the quarter-final duels scheduled Friday and Saturday.
Tunashukuru sana KBC kwa tuwezesha kutuona ball free, na tunazidi waendelee kutufanyia hivyo hivyo hadi siku ya finali. Tutashukuru sana.
The viewing is expected to take place at the bus park in Vihiga town. The semi-finals and the final public viewing is set to be held in Siaya and Kisumu counties respectively. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Bernard Okumu.
Thank you, Okumu, for that report. Now let's switch gears to matters athletics. The national cross-country trials to select a team that will take part in the World Cross-Country Championships in Australia will be held this Saturday at the Kenya Prisons Training College in Ruiru. Athletes who will be invited to take part in the event are required to have competed in international cross countries, emerged among the top 10, and competed in the last local meeting in November 2022 and obtained credible results. Some of the athletes who have been invited include Commonwealth Games 10,000 meter silver medalist Daniel Simiyu, World Half Marathon silver medalist Kibiwot Kandie, 3-time World Half Marathon champion Geoffrey Kamaror, 2018 World Under 25,000 meter champion Edward Zakayo, and World 10,000 meter silver medalist Stanley Waithaka Mburu. Others are Commonwealth Games 5,000 meter champion Beatrice Chebet and Africa 1,500 meter silver medalist Purity Chepkirui. The next edition of the World Cross Championships will be held in Australia between the 17th and 19th of February next year. And finally, Novak Djokovic will play in January's Adelaide International, a year after being deported from Australia because of his COVID-19 vaccination status. The Serb, who has won a record 9 Australian Open titles, is also set to compete at the first Grand Slam of the year after his visa ban was overturned.
Serbia's Novak Djokovic was deported before the 2022 event after his visa was cancelled. He was automatically banned for 3 years from entering Australia, but in November he learned that he could receive a visa for 2023. Novak Djokovic won the season-ending ATP finals in December and will be bidding to win a 22nd Grand Slam title, which will take him level with Spain's Rafael Nadal, who claimed the title in Melbourne at the start of this year. The Australian Open starts 15 days later in Melbourne after the Adelaide International, which starts on the 1st of January next year. There will be 3 other top 10 men's players in Adelaide, with Felix Auger-Aliassime, Daniel Medvedev and Audrey Rublev. Meanwhile, Britain's Emma Raducanu will start her season at the Auckland Open in New Zealand, which starts on the 2nd of next month.
Thank you for that report. That report brings us to the end of the sports news tonight. But don't forget, there's no World Cup fixture tonight and there will be no World Cup fixture tomorrow. But action resumes on Friday when the quarterfinals takes center stage with Croatia battling it out with Brazil on Friday. Netherlands will also battle it out with Argentina. And on Saturday, the much-awaited match that all Africans are waiting for, Morocco will battle it out with Portugal. We wish them all the best. And England will take on France also later on at 10 p.m. on Saturday. So don't be fooled. No World Cup matches today. Action resumes on Friday, and KBC Channel 1 will definitely televise live and exclusive two matches out of the 4 quarterfinal matches. My name is Karen Kibet. It was a pleasure being with you tonight. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, but the broadcast is not yet over. I do hand you back to my colleague, John Jacob Kioria.
Do you know you stand the risk of disconnection if you have not updated your SIM registration details? Dial *106# to check your SIM registration status. If your details are not updated, dial *106# and select option 2 to get the self-update link. You will be required to upload your original ID image copy, both front and back. Alternatively, you can visit the nearest Airtel outlet. Remember, you only have until December 15th, 2022 to comply. This is a SIM regulation requirement as per the Communications Authority of Kenya. Airtel, the most affordable network.
Cheza Loto, shinda pesa moto.
Wachua mamili leo na Loto Moto. Cheza ukianzia na shilingi 50 na ushinde milioni 2 kila siku. Kucheza ni rahisi zaidi. Kwenye M-Pesa, chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, andika neno Loto. Kisha, weka star. Alafu nambari yako ya simu. Kwenye amount, weka kiwango chochote cha pesa. Kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2000. Lipa na usubiri draw. Makinika papa hapa ili utimize ndoto zako na Loto Moto. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Mchezo huu ni wazi kwa watu walio na umri wa miaka 18 na zaidi. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB. Cheza Loto Moto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
Well, tonight we're engaging the Deputy Governor, Machakos County, that is Francis Mwangangi, has been Member of Parliament for Yata, now moved to the Executive as the Deputy Governor to Wavinya Ndeti. Today the President was in your county, probably even before we talk about the pushback. Karibu sana, Deputy Governor to KBC.
Thank you.
Asante sana. The President was in your county today, yes. Launching, or rather the groundbreaking for 5,000 units affordable housing. Okay. Is that a good thing for the people of Machakos?
Very good, very good, very good, and we are very much impressed. It was not only launching of houses. Today, as a full, well-constructed school, modern school, was handed over to the Minister of Education at the same site. An hospital was also handed over to the county government of Machakos with a promise from the national government that they are going to improve on the same in the very near future. And the third thing was a full police division in the same area. That was not enough. Today the national government through the head of state has committed to end water shortage challenges within Maboko and by extension Machakos County. And what impressed me so much is the thing of Athi River, that the president committed the national government to ensuring it is clean within the shortest time possible. And we were impressed.
You were impressed?
We were impressed.
And because, of course, go ahead.
Because there is that partnership. If I'm to quote the head of state, he talked of a collabo.
Yeah, he said collabo.
Yes, and he talked about it. He mentioned it almost 3 times between the national government, county government, and other development partners. It is impressive.
All right. Of course, as that was happening, there was something else happening in Nairobi. Your coalition was holding consultative forums. But before we even talk about that, very quickly, from a legislator to the executive, how is that switch? What is the difference for you?
Currently, there is a lot of engagement. There is a lot of call for duty. There is a lot of focus. Count is a huge thing. There has to be a lot of consultation in terms of leadership, unless for me, I think it is a challenging task, a very challenging task, because as a member of parliament, he was the boss. Now, as a deputy governor, there is a boss who is the governor. There is the county assembly. And there has to be consultation up, down, everywhere. And then it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing. It's a good experience. However, in Parliament, there was that freedom of legislating. You sit down, you think, you are assisted to do a lot of research to ensure if it is a legislative bill that you are coming up with, you are aided from many corners to ensure at the end of the day it is a good thing. In the county, you are to the executive. You need not to now think of legislating other than now leading, managing, consulting, holding meetings. And now I'm finding it funny, because anywhere I appear within the county, it is like I'm expected to do 1 or 2 things which I'm not used to. It is a challenge, but less than 3 months to the office, I'm finding it interesting.
All right.
Yes.
And obviously, you're doing a good job. Let's talk about what was happening today in Nairobi. As Azimio was launching those consultation forums, today they're saying they will have others on Monday during Jamhuri Day celebrations. But you are one person in Azimio who has been outspoken against the consultation rallies, or what people have called demonstrations. Why?
One, it is good for viewers and Kenyans to understand picketing, demonstrating guaranteed by the current constitution. But what I was, my own take at personal level, this is not the position of the county government of Machakos or anybody within that government. This is personal. I had a feeling that as much as we have a point that the current government promised easier life, cost of living was supposed to have come down. There was an issue touching on the current ASLA fund being free of interest. All those challenges anybody can understand. The only thing is, how do you address them? Is there any way those in power and those ideally in opposition can sit down and agree? Because if you resort to, for example, mass action, and there are destructions, who is benefiting? Point number 2 is if we go that route, is the country gaining or losing? Number 3, if there is no dialogue at the end of everything, then where do we go? So what I said of the weekend on Sunday, and that clip, I'm sure it is very much available. I said among the leaders in this country who can be trusted is none other than Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. If he can team up with the church, the leadership from both sides can be brought on the table, agree on the way forward, and some of these things can be addressed without necessarily engaging Kenyans in the manner in which we are currently doing. I'm not saying it is a bad thing. It is a good thing, but I know the end result is not going to be...
Have you had discussions with your party leader about the same? Because you're saying he's best suited, obviously, to do the negotiations or lead the pushback, but not in the sense that they're advocating for. Have you had a conversation with him?
Not in this specific issue. Okay. Not in this specific issue. And again, within the Wiper Party, I'm a too junior person. I'm too junior person to. You can only give a solicited advice, not the one which is not solicited. So, in this case, as a leader, I'm also entitled to my views. Why am I saying this? We are less than 3 months after we took over at the county level, after the government took over at national level. I'm sure even our mothers, respectively, whoever conceived during that period, you cannot very well identify if she is or she isn't. It is too early. And I'm concerned that even Kenyans might tend to say we went through an election the other day. A few months, less than two and a half months into this after this government took over. Now there we are. It's like we want to take Kenyans the same route. I'm not sure the reaction from the masses.
All right.
Yeah.
In a minute, because we need to wind up, the aspect of opposition counties working with government, because here, as we say, it is your right to work with the national government, but then there's this pushback also being advanced by Azimio. But tell us, as a person probably representing an opposition county, the modalities of working with government in a minute, probably.
It's not modalities. We have only one policy, that the same people being served by the national government are the same people we are serving. When President William Ruto visited Kisumu, the county governor, Professor Nyang', was in hand to receive him and took him around. They did some developments in that part of the world. It's not different from Machakos, and whenever there is anything that is benefiting the people of Machakos, as a county government, we have resolved we will be there to ensure we team up with the government and other development partners to ensure our people progress. Politics is coming, it's not far. 4 or 5 years is not a long period. It's coming, and we will not be judged by sitting or how much we criticize the government, but how much we have delivered, how much we have transformed our people. And I think that is the policy. Yes.
That's the policy for, obviously, the opposition counties. In that camera, your last word on that camera as we wind up.
All elected leaders, all leaders in this country, business people, religious, please put this country first. Put Kenyans first. Anything we do, anything we utter, how we behave, please put this country first.
All right.
Yes.
The Deputy Governor for Machakos County, Francis Mwangangi, speaking to us tonight. Obviously, on the pushback by the opposition that we saw today, and Mwangangi feels the opposition is justified, but the course of action That's where the difference is. That's where we put a cap on Prime Edition tonight. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Lensa Odingo. Thank you very much. Have yourself a good night. And thank you, Mheshimiwa, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Mtumaini Mungu kama sikiza tune yako, bonyeza *811 *815 #.
Mtumaini Mwenyezi Mungu kwa moyo wako wote, wala usitegemee akili zako mwenyewe.